Good evening. I will now call to order the Chesterfield Township Planning Commission meeting on March 19th, 2024. I will call the roll. Mr. Miller is here. Mr. LaBelle is excused. Mr. Demink?
Here.
Mr. Leonard?
Here.
Mr. Renault is excused. Mr. Jaworski?
Here.
Mr. Klanowski?
Here.
Mr. Carr?
Here.
Mr. Brokart?
Here.
Approval, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the minutes of a prior meeting. I would like to approve the minutes of March 5th, 2024. We have a motion by Mr. Miller, supported by Mr. Jaworski. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Approval of the agenda. I will make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted. Support. We have a motion by Mr. Miller, supported by Mr. Demink. All in favor?
Aye.
Public comments, 3-minute time limit. Please come up to the mic, sign in. If you want to, on anything you want to talk about. What? Okay. All right. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Public hearings. We have one public hearing tonight. Mr. Car Wash, site plan number 2024-01, special land use C3, 1.28 acres, south side of 23 Mile, east of Donner. Parcel ID is 1509211011027, and the address is 29323 Mile.
Motion to open the public hearing.
We have a motion by Mr. Demink, supported by Mr. Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Go ahead.
Hello, yes. So for the Mr. Car Wash site plan, we at Giffords Webster did not receive the updated plans that were, so these comments will be going off of our site plan review from March 11th. That is in the packets. So going through the site plan, a few things for the commission to consider. The location of the canopy and pay kiosks on the side need to, for the site plan. And also for the access drives, the ingress and egress, just the need, if there needs to be 2 access drives to the site, maybe something for you guys to address. And need for possible locations for loading and unloading areas on the site. And then something else is the circulation of vehicles on the site as well. Another thing to consider is the screening on the southwest corner where it abuts a residential area. In the message from Mr. Car Wash, they said that there is a stormwater management structure there, so that is the reason why they don't have the proper screening on the southwest corner. So that's something for you to decide on there. And finally, the use of a bypass lane. Currently on the plans, there's 3 rows of 9 cars. And the applicant has stated that there would be an attendant to let people out of the southern lane. So that may be something to consider and decide upon about whether a bypass lane is, well, it is needed based upon the ordinances. So, all things consider.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We did receive 12 letters from residents opposing this special land use rezoning. So right now, is there somebody here from Mr. C's Car Wash? Mr. C Car Wash, the new one? The new one? Petitioner. The petitioner, yeah.
No, he gets go longer. Because he gets longer than 3. Hit the button in the center, sir, right there. Thank you.
There we go. Good evening, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Thank you for having us tonight. My name is Chris Campbell with Mr. Car Wash, 3650 Annapolis Lane, Suite 190, Minneapolis, Minnesota. You can go hit the slide, please. I'd like to take just a few minutes tonight to talk to you about Mr. Car Wash, talk to you about our project, and then answer any questions that you might have. A little overview about Mr. Car Wash. We're the largest operator of car washes across the country. We're a publicly traded company with 478 washes open as of today. 30 of those are in Michigan, and we have another 17 that are under active development. Mr. Car Wash is unique in that we were one of the pioneers in the industry of the Unlimited Wash Club, which is a subscription model that allows you to pay a flat monthly fee and wash your vehicle as often as you'd like. Today we have over 2.1 million members, and we wash 90 million cars annually. If you can hit the slide, please, thank you. Primarily our development today is through greenfield or new stores. So that's new construction, and all of those stores feature our recycling and reclamation systems. So we're proud to say that on those new stores, we reclaim about 50% of the water and reuse that in the wash cycle. And then through our proprietary kind of internal system design, we've been able to reduce freshwater usage by up to 25%. We're also very environmentally friendly with our chemicals. We actually have a chemistry team that works for Mr. Car Wash. They're based in Tucson. They do a lot of formulation for us for all of our cleaning agents and products. And so we're very proud that those are all water-based, free of dyes, free of oils, safe for the environment. Slide, please. I wanted to take you quickly through the site plan. This is oriented with east to the north, 23 Mile on your left there. Customers will enter on that north or that east driveway. That's the one that's to the top there. They'll come into the pay stations. So they'll travel across the top there. They'll come up to the pay stations. We have 2 lanes that are for Unlimited Wash Club members and 1 lane for retail members. So if you're an Unlimited Wash Club member, of which over 70% of our customers are, you'll have an RFID tag on your vehicle. So when you pull up to that pay station, the RFID reader there reads that tag, automatically raises the gate, and you move on through the wash. So you'll move in, you'll make a right-hand turn into the tunnel. When you get to the front of the tunnel, you'll have an employee who will guide you onto the conveyor belt. This is a conveyor wash system. It's 160 feet long. Once you're on that conveyor, it moves you through the wash, dry it at the end, you come out, you make a left, and then you can make a decision. You can either turn right to go on to 23 Mile and exit the site, or you can turn left back into the site and use any of our 23 on-site free vacuums. Slide, please. These are just some elevations of our proposed project here. We have upgraded the exterior to brick and stone. Over 90% of the exterior of the building is those materials to meet with the township ordinance. What you're looking at on this side is the side that would face the pay lanes and then the tunnel entrance. Slide, please. So this is the tunnel wall elevation. That is glazing there, so there are windows that open onto the tunnel, so there is a lot of natural light that comes in there, and then the exit as well. Slide. This is an image of the POS canopy, or that pay station canopy. As you can see, as I mentioned, we have 3 of those. We did upgrade the materials on these, so they do match the building. You've got stone at the base, brick, and then it's metal paneling similar to what's on the main structure. Same thing with the dumpster enclosure, brick up to the top, and then a stone cap. So I wanted to just address a couple of the comments that the consultant mentioned with regards to, this one is with vehicular ingress and egress. So a few changes that we've made. This is a MDOT road, I should mention, and they have reviewed all of this. They have approved this. And so what we're planning to do is, we currently have 2 existing driveways that are both two-way driveways. We're going to take the westernmost driveway. We're going to reduce it down to 14 feet. I know that this says 18, but we've amended that since, and so it will be 14 feet wide, and we'll convert it to exit only. The driveway on the east will be widened to 30 feet. It's about 28 feet right now. That 30 feet will meet with local code. And then we'll also install a taper that will allow vehicles to slow down before they make that right-hand turn into the site. Let's see. Yeah, I think the last thing on this slide is that, what was important for us was really to ensure safety for our customers, customers out on on 23 Mile, as well as pedestrians moving through there. And so the other thing that we've done, it's kind of hard to see on this, staff has asked us to prepare for a future cross-access easement. And so you'll see some kind of driveways that are cut off on the east and west side of that. And so it's really important for us to maintain those 2 driveways, especially with that potential for cross-access traffic. Slide. So the bypass lane. We understand that there's a request for the bypass lane. With our use, let me back up. Bypass lanes really serve a purpose when you go to a business where you have to wait for something. You're waiting for Starbucks to make your coffee. You're waiting for the bank, to take care of the transaction of the people in front of you. You're actually just stopped kind of waiting. In our model, because 70% of the customers are Unlimited Wash Club members, we have a pretty free flow through that site. So they pull up to that gate, automatically opens, they move through, and because that conveyor is continually moving, the backup just doesn't occur. Because of this conveyor system and because it's all automated, we have the ability to increase the speed of that conveyor as well. So if we did notice that, hey, things are getting a little bit long, it's just, it is getting backed up for some reason, we can increase that speed and increase the throughput of those members. So we typically don't see any issues with backup, but because this area is fully staffed, it allows us, if there is a customer that wanted to bail out, so to speak, we could open up a gate, they can move forward and move through our bailout lane there, what you see on the plan south. One of the other challenges with a bailout lane or a bypass lane here is this site has been designed in such a way that we've taken into account all of the setbacks and easements and things like that, that we just don't have the space to be able to safely maneuver vehicles through this area of the site if we were to add another bypass lane, because it would require another lane on the south side of the site, and we just don't have that space with all of the setbacks and everything. Slide. There was a comment about off-street loading. With this type of business, we don't get a lot of retail, we don't get merchandise delivered, we don't get food deliveries or anything like that. And we get chemicals and office supplies once a month, and then the routine Amazon, FedEx, UPS type of deliveries. So we don't ever see an issue with those types of vehicles kind of getting in and maneuvering on the site. So we're asking to not have a loading unloading zone. There was a comment about the accessory structures. I think it's purely because it's in the side yard. We're outside of all of the setbacks. We've upgraded that. It's towards the rear of the site. The materiality matches the main building. So we would ask that be approved. These next couple slides you can just kind of flip through quickly. They're just some renderings of the building. So at Mr., people are at the heart of what we do. We really believe that if we put our employees first, that they're going to be able to serve our customers. If we don't put them first, then that's not going to happen. And I think there's been some misinformation put out there about kind of how we operate our stores, and so I just wanted to kind of reflect or set the record straight, so to speak. Mr. offers some of the industry-leading pay out there. In this market, our entry-level employees will start anywhere between $15 and $17 an hour. We offer full-time employees. Those are employees over 30 hours a week. Medical, dental, and vision insurance. We have paid time off. We have 401k with company matches, tuition reimbursement, paid parental leave, and our newest offering is backup childcare. So if you are an hourly worker, or employee rather, it's difficult to take time off if you have a sick kid. That backup childcare allows you to do that. It allows you to still go into work but have your child cared for. I think it's another important piece to that employee piece is that over 90% of our general managers are actually promoted from within. And that's a position that most of them can make upwards of 6 figures in that position. So we have a number of people on our staff, both from within our stores all the way up to our corporate office, who started out as customer service attendants, and they've worked their way up. How am I doing on time? Good? I'm okay? All right. Community involvement. So Philanthropy with Mr. is hyper-local. We really work with the communities that we're in to ensure that the donations that we're giving affect those home communities. So we're proud to say that over the last couple of years, between our fundraising and in-kind donations, we have given over $3 million to over 2,000 organizations. And then finally, and you can hit the slide, I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of why Chesterfield. Mr., as the largest operator, we are looking at deployment strategies across the country. And the Detroit metropolitan area is an important deployment market for us. What's unique with us is because we have so many locations, my UWC members can get a wash wherever they want. And in this market, we, as I said, we have 30 stores in Michigan. Most of them are in Grand Rapids. But we expect double-digit growth here in the Detroit metropolitan area. It is, I know that there's a lot of talk about, hey, there's a lot of car washes, and that's what you're going to hear tonight from a lot of people. Hey, there's a lot of car washes in town. There's a lot of restaurants. There's a lot of banks. The Chick-fil-A that was recently approved, within 600 feet of that, there are 15 restaurants. The Sheetz that was recently approved, within about a mile of that, there are 5 gas stations. Why did Sheetz, why did Chick-fil-A decide to come to Chesterfield? They saw a market with it, and they have a service or a product that they thought that they could serve this market with. It's the same thing with Mr. Car Wash. We've seen the other car washes in town. We believe that we offer a better product. And we're prepared to make a $7 million investment in this community because we see a need for our service here. My team and I are here tonight, happy to answer any questions for you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Right now, we're going to turn it over to the residents. So if you have any comments to make, you have 3 minutes. So sign in, please, and then anybody. And you can sign in before you go up, too. It'll speed up the process.
Okay. Hello, members of the Chesterfield Township Planning Commission. My name is Nina Clements. I am a co-owner of Mr. C's Car Wash located at 29600 23 Mile Road. We request the record reflect that the business owners of Mr. C's Car Wash strongly oppose that the special land use proposal for Mr. Car Wash. Our property is just 598 feet to the east along 23 Mile Road. Including our wash and Mr. Car Wash, there will be 8 car washes within a 2-mile area. Expand the distance to 5 miles and the total count of car washes is 10. The proposed Mr. Car Wash will not offer a service that is not already available in the area. Further, Mr.'s pricing model is higher than most of what is already here. Therefore, the addition of another express tunnel wash will not provide a more economical service that is not already available within 2 miles. Please keep in mind that car washing is not the same as food. It's not a necessity like food or gas. And a market can only support so much competition. We believe it is important to note the similarity of our name, Mr. C's Car Wash and Mr. Car Wash. We foresee all kinds of confusion ensuing from having a car wash with a very similar name open 598 feet from us. We anticipate mail delivery mix-ups as well as customer mix-ups. We will get phone calls from Mr. Car Wash and they will get ours. We will likely each receive online reviews for the wrong business. This will be yet another obstacle we will have to deal with if Mr. is allowed to build down the street from us. We believe ourselves to be a formidable competitor and better than Mr. Car Wash. However, not even the strongest car wash operations can withstand a competitor building 598 feet from them. Again, car washing is not a necessity like food or gas. We believe if Mr. is allowed to build on the Big Boy site, neither one of us will be profitable with a 50% split of volume. Only businesses that make money survive. For the reasons above, we ask that the Planning Commission deny special use approval for a proposed Mr. Car Wash at 29300 23 Mile Road. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Good evening. Members of the Chesterfield Township Planning Commission. I'm Vito Bill Catelfield, Managing Member of Mr. C's Car Wash located at 29600 23 Mile Road. In business class, you are taught the success of any service business is location, location, location. Well, if Mr. Car Wash is permitted to build 598 feet away from me, my location will go from decent location to an awful one. When I was in the Marine Corps during the Vietnam War, I was scared to death that I would be called to fight. I was blessed never to engage in combat. Well, Mr. Car Wash is a fight, like Vietnam, that I know I cannot win. Mr. Car Wash is the largest car wash chain in the country with 465 locations, the majority of which were previously privately owned. Mr.'s main office in Tucson, Arizona, and they took in approximately $1 billion in revenue in 2023. I feel they will wait me out. I have been in the car wash business for 33 years, and I know that the pie is only so big. If Mr. Car Wash is granted this predatory practice and allowed to build 598 feet from me, there will be 8 car washes eating out of the same pie within a 2-mile area. Within 5 miles, the total number of washes goes to 8 to 10. The fact that there are 8 washes within 2 miles and only 2 another within 5 miles demonstrates that the immediate 2-mile area is already saturated and each wash will get a very small piece of the pie. 3 of my 4 children, 6 of my grandchildren, 2 of my sisters, my brother, and myself all earn their income from Mr. C's Car Wash. We are truly family-owned and operated. I bought the location on 23 Mile Road from my cousin because when I went to pay my respects to his family after his mother's death, he approached my daughter and me about purchasing this operation because he was ready to retire. He said he had a preliminary purchase agreement with a company that wanted to put a cannabis operation on the site, and the cannabis operator had asked for an extension on their agreement while they worked things out with Chesterfield Township. I saw the potential of taking over the existing location. I bring 2 positive changes, brand it with Mr. C's Car Wash name, and implement an unlimited wash program. We took over in July of 2022. If Mr. is allowed to build just down the street, the volume we have managed to build will drop by at least 50% and likely fall below the volume levels that we purchased the property at. It is disheartening to think that this location, open less than 2 years, has already peaked and car count will go down if Mr. is allowed to go in 598 feet away. I urge the Chesterfield Township Planning Commission to deny special land use proposal for Mr. Car Wash. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Hi. My name is Josh Wigner. That was my father-in-law, sister-in-law that just spoke before me, so I'm going to continue on from what they said, I'm one of the co-owners of Mr. C's Car Wash located at 29600 23 Mile Road. Just want to highlight some of the differences between us and Mr. Mr. C's Car Wash hires students under the age of 18. Mr. requires staff to be at least 18. Mr. C's Car Wash pays its employees and managers more than Mr. We also offer health, dental, and vision insurance. We also offer 401k with match and tuition assistance for college and trade school students. At this location, we employ more people than Mr. will, and also, like them, all of our general managers have been promoted from within. We promote management from within. Our base wash is cheaper than Mr. To this day, no car wash tunnel is sophisticated enough to get 100% clean and dry vehicle. For this reason, we fully prep each vehicle, including the wheel wells. We use clean damp towels as a final cleaning and drying on every vehicle, which is kind of rare in the car wash business these days. Mr. does not fully prep vehicles and do not towel dry. Bottom line, we do believe that we offer better quality wash than Mr. and that we deserve a chance to continue serving on 23 Mile Road. It's important to know that car wash buildings are use-specific. If a car wash business cannot be profitable and the business closes, that building will have no value because there's no cost-effective way to convert the improvements into another use. Truthfully, we have no interest in selling our 23 Mile location, but if Mr. goes in just 2 doors down, 598 feet away from us, the only thing a sane business person would do is put the property up for sale, even if that means the property's only worth the dirt. If Mr. goes in, we'll be forced to seek a tax appeal until we can sell the property. To be just like Mr., we would have to do the following. We'd have to eliminate 7 of our employees, put on attendant gates at the entrance, and customers will interact with the kiosk. Stop accepting cash. Stop manually power washing vehicles, including wheel wells, prior to going through the wash. Stop towel drying, and pay employees less. Honestly, though, we would rather sell the real estate than compromise our quality. We truly feel that lowering our standards in hopes of maintaining competitiveness will prove to be futile in the end. Again, a battle we know we can't win. We hope the Chesterfield Township Planning Commission will take our reasons for opposing this predatory development into consideration and realize that granting special use approval for Mr. will not be a benefit to the area. Thank you.
Good evening, Planning Commission members. My name is Ron Saman. I'm the attorney for Mr. C's Car Wash. I have a letter in your packet, and attached to the letter are the special land use provisions, section 6.2 of the ordinance. I'm not going to repeat what the other Mr. C's people have spoken so far about, but taking a look at the special use standards, I just don't think Mr. Car Wash meets at least 3 of those standards. They fail to meet at least 3 standards. If you look at section 6.2A, and again, the ordinance is attached to the letter, it says that the standards must be met in order to get a special land use permit. And there's 9 standards altogether, and those standards are in 6.2B. And if you look at B, section 6.2B, the standards that I point you to are 6.2B 5, 6, and 8, and are summarized on the second page of the letter. Basically, in 6.2B 5, it says there has to be a need for the particular services and facilities in specific areas of the township. You've heard there's already 7 car washes here within a 2-mile radius. All right, so I'm not really sure that standard's going to be met. If you look at the next standard, standard number 6, the proposed use is necessary for the public convenience at the proposed location. Again, there are 7 other locations within 2 miles. I'm not sure this new location is necessary. Excuse me, is necessary. The last standard is standard 8, which is on, just below there on page 2. And that's a little bit more detailed. It says here, the proposed use shall not cause substantial injury to the value of other property in the vicinity. You've already heard it's going to severely impact Mr. C's car wash. You could hit a golf ball from Mr. C's car wash to the new car wash. That's how close these two are to each other. And will not be detrimental to existing and or other permitted land uses in the zoning district. It most definitely will be detrimental. So out of the 9 standards, I don't think the new car wash will meet at least 3 of them. Now, there was some talk that, you have a McDonald's, you have a Burger King right next to each other. And that's true. I used to do a lot of work with drugstores. And I used to talk to the brokers and say, hey, tell me why there's a Walgreens on one corner and a month later a CVS opens on another corner, and vice versa. You see that all the time. And I said, why don't they just open 3 miles away and avoid the competition? He says Walgreens, CVS, a lot of these big players do very serious studies, economic studies and demographic studies, and they look to open next to each other. And I said, why would that be? He says, they'd rather make 50% located next to each other than 100% located 3 miles away, because that 50% is more than 100%.
Time's up.
Oh, okay. That was a good story. I could have
Thank you.
finished it, but. All right, you'll never know the end of that story. All right, thank you. I'll tell you later.
Anybody else?
Good evening. My name is Janice Young, and I live in Chesterfield. I'm not affiliated with Mr. C's. I don't know any of the people from Mr. C's. I am just here as a resident. I did email the board because I didn't know if I'd be able to make it to this meeting, but my schedule's changed, so I don't want to rehash the whole email I sent to you. I just kind of want to point out a couple of things. I did look up the zoning ordinance myself, and everything their attorney spoke of is exactly what's stated in our ordinance. It doesn't meet a need. We have plenty of them there. Car washes are not a necessity like food and gas. It's a totally different animal on that. Currently, there's a Big Boy at that location, and they have about 20 employees, and some of them have been there, I've been told, for 30 years. And if this car wash comes into that spot, I think they only are going to employ like about four or five people. So they're looking at taking away like 16 long-term jobs for our community, and I think that's a big deal. Let's see. You received 12 emails in opposition. I would have hoped you would have received more than that, especially because one of them was mine. Let's see. They did mention that they didn't have space, I think, for a bypass or something in there. And I've seen numerous times where you guys have given variances for something that didn't quite fit into a space. And I just don't think we need to do that in our community anymore, especially when it comes to a business that we really don't need. We have plenty of car washes. And I understand car washes and storage facilities, they're huge money makers for the owner. They don't provide a lot of jobs. Storage units don't take up a lot of resources, but I believe this will. I think it's going to impact our water, even though they said they recycle water. I'm already noticing a drop in water pressure in my home. I live off of Donner in Stonehenge subdivision, and I noticed a decrease in water. So I wonder what another car wash that close to my home is going to do. And along with what they said as far as the name, I got confused. When I first started looking this up, I thought Mr. Car Wash perhaps would have been the official name of Mr. C's. And then I was corrected that I was wrong. So I like to think that I'm fairly educated on this stuff and do my research and due diligence, and I still got confused by it. So I'm quite sure the average person who doesn't pay attention is going to get the two of them mixed up. And the other thing is Mr. C's is a local company. I used to go to their location in Harper Woods all the time. I worked down the road from them for 20 years. They're a family-owned company. They're a local company, not a big corporation that's from out of state. You know, they employ local people, and they're part of my community. They used to be part of my community before, and now they're directly part of my community where I live. So I'm in opposition to the Mr. Car Wash. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the commission. My name is George Curris, and it's been my honor for 43 years to own the Big Boy. I am the Big Boy owner, and I thank you. comes time in everybody's life when you have to start thinking about retirement. And since I will be 74, I think it was time for me to retire, which is why I put the store up for sale. During those 43 years, I've had the pleasure of employing over 5,000 employees from the Chesterfield area. During that time also, when I came in 1981, there were 5 restaurants. I was one of the 5. Today in that same area, there's 65. During that time, never once did I or many of the other restaurant owners come in and say, you can't put another restaurant there, it'll hurt us. Unfortunately, it's the American way, and we value competition. I know that the owners of the existing car washes are all fine owner-operators. I know that there'll be enough for them, and more importantly, with the continued new population coming into Chesterfield, with the homes and the condos, there'll be that many more people that will give them that many more customers. The greatest thing about competition is it makes you run a better operation, makes you run a cleaner operation, makes you give better service, makes you make sure that your building, your equipment is up to date. And I think it's a win-win for everybody. My employees will be going to other big boys, so nobody will be without a job. But for me, I think I had the restaurant up for sale for 1.5 years. The only offers I ever got were ironically from existing car washes. So that is why I've looked into that offer. In closing, again, I know the quality of these people. I know they do a good job, and I know they'll continue to do a good job. I use their services myself. So again, we've got new people coming to this great township that can only add to what's going on. So I thank you for your time. I thank you for the years that many of you have stopped into the Big Boy and either come and eaten, said hi, got donations, whatever it may be. And if it wasn't for the fact that I was becoming an old SOB, I would love to still be there. So thank you, Commission.
Thank you. Anybody else?
John Spica, Chesterfield Township. I'm a resident in Chesterfield. I own a home, and I pay property taxes in this township. When I talk to my fellow residents, my friends, my neighbors, and people that I associate with, and when Chesterfield's brought up, Chesterfield is known for gas stations, mattress stores, storage facilities, and car washes. My personal opinion, I think we need a new approach. We need a different view for this township. We've got an existing car wash. I don't know Vito, I don't know Nina, and I don't know anybody that owns Mr. C's Car Wash, but I can tell you that I have a membership at Mr. C's, so I'm speaking as a resident and as a customer. And I've gone to other car washes before, and Mr. C's, in my personal opinion, is one of the best car washes out there. Let me tell you what I like about the car wash. 1, it's family owned. 2, it's a one-on-one personal base. 3, when you go into that car wash, not only do they hand dry when you come out, but one of the most important things to me is getting my mirrors blown out on both sides, so when I leave, I don't get that water on my windows. I think they do a phenomenal job, and I don't think it's fair that that we have another car wash come in within 598 feet from where they're at when they've already committed. And when they took over that car wash, it used to be Joe's Car Wash. That place was a dump. They've invested a ton of money in trying to bring that car wash up to standards, and they have. They've done a phenomenal job. And again, I mean, we've got to consider that they were first here. It's family owned. They committed to Chesterfield already. I mean, you've seen their commitment. And again, I urge you to deny this. And, you know, there's other things that can go in. And again, we don't need a McDonald's. We don't need a Burger King. We need nicer restaurants in this township that Macomb County has, that Washington Township has, that people want. That's what people want. They don't want these fly-by-night fast food places. I mean, people are leaving this township and going to other communities for a nice sit-down dinner because we don't have what the people are asking for and what they demand. So again, and with as many car washes that are in the area, we don't need another car wash in a conglomerate on top of that. So again, you know, Mr. Seas does a phenomenal job, and I urge you to deny the petitioner's request. Thank you.
Time's up. Thank you.
Nancy Hutchinson, also a Chesterfield Township resident. I, like the other residents, don't know these people. But I'm here to encourage you to vote no on this. If you let this car wash come into our town, which we do not need, like we need more storage units, you may as well, every single one of you, just give this whole family a big middle finger. We're trying to keep Chesterfield, Chesterfield. We're not looking to make it part of something huge. This family lives here, they work here, they hire here, and they care about the community. So I'm going to strongly encourage you to vote no on this.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing no one, I'm going to bring it back up to the commission. I'm going to make a motion to close the public hearing. We have a motion by Mr. Miller, supported by Mr. Demink. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Now I'll bring it back to the commission. Mr. Demink?
I don't have anything right now. I'll defer to the other commissioner members.
Mr. Brokart?
I think the renderings are real nice. I mean, it looks good. And I don't have any problem with the looks of it. I do have some questions, though, for Mr. Car Wash. And they deal with the noise impact analysis that you provided.
Yes.
The measured specs in the ordinances that you reference are for New Baltimore. This is Chesterfield Township, so I believe those are going to be different. As a matter of fact,
Likely so.
I'm sure they are. So you're going to need to redo that analysis.
Happy to, yep.
I would ask you to consider a few things. When you're locating your microphones, I would go north, south, east, and west, not just south or southwest.
Oh, you're talking for kind of the background noise
Right.
initially? Yep, okay.
Absolutely. And on your sound mapping, if you could add site plans, residential property lines as well, I think that would be really, really good for me. And I'd also like to understand better, because I was confused by your table A, how you measured your equivalent continuous sound level.
Okay,
Okay, it's not explained well enough for me to understand it.
okay.
And that's going to be kind of key to our ordinance and whether or not you meet it. Because the data I'm looking at doesn't meet it. So you're going to need to take a good look at that.
Absolutely, and it's fully our intention to meet all noise ordinances.
That's all I have.
Yeah, I have a few things. So I think my fellow member did a nice job of the noise study, so that definitely does need to be updated. So I look forward to seeing that. A few things, though. The circulation in regards to having the two existing entrances, I understand that there's two existing entrances with the big boy, and you guys would like to keep it. One of my questions is, typically we don't allow two, but if we were going to allow the two, how are you having left turns? Are left turns gonna be permitted in both, or are left turns just gonna be permitted at the west one?
I would defer to our, Sorry,
Please-
looking at my
Please
team.
come up to the,
I believe the design with MDOT was left turns at both entrances, but I'll allow Curtis here with Excel Engineering to confirm that.
Good evening. Kurt Geiger with Excel Engineering on behalf of Mr. Car Wash, civil engineering aspect. So as far as ingress, egress, so also 100 Camelot Drive, Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. As far as ingress, egress goes, the easterly most drive is going to be established at 30 feet wide, and that will be an ingress and egress with right turn or left turn being permitted out of it. And then the westerly most drive, which would be the bottom of the screen there, on the bottom of the screen there, that is the westerly, which will be at a 14-foot driveway width and will be an egress only and exit only, and that would be permitted to go right or left at this point. The MDOT has not said otherwise on what that left and right turn would be stipulated to meet. There is the 180-foot taper that is being provided starting back at the westerly most next drive entrance to the property to the west, and there'll be actually a 12-foot lane then provided for the entrance into the Mr. Car Wash site, which would be, once again, the top of this screen or the right side of the site and or east side of the site, depending on orientation and how you look at that. So there is basically an opportunity to have flow of traffic on 23 Mile Road continue to operate without dysfunction to it.
And I think one more thing just to add to that, just a reminder that we did work with MDOT. They did review, the plan and the driveways. They did approve the two driveways, and it's my understanding that they did approve both left and right out of both driveways.
Yeah, and that's great. I'm familiar with MDOT. From a township perspective, typically we only allow one. So I'm just sharing that I'm open to considering the two if this does move forward, but I would be, one of my requirements would be to restrict left-hand turns out of the west one. Just because to me, it's there's a lot. I mean, I applaud the taper. The taper is a requirement for the volume of vehicles that you are anticipating. But there's just a lot of congestion between two exits trying to turn left, which means they're gonna queue in the middle lane. That's just how we all do it, right? We queue in the middle lane. Nobody goes across 4 lanes of traffic to make a left. They're gonna queue in the middle. Now you have basically you're gonna have two entrances where people are either gonna be making a left or a right into, and then you're gonna have two trying to make lefts or rights. And it's just, there's a lot going on there that I don't think is the best layout. So,
May I add?
so that's one of my concerns there.
May I respond to that?
Well, you can, but you're not gonna make any changes right now. I'm just kind of giving you my comments.
No, I understand. I was just going to say, part of that concern though is if you're pushing all of the vehicles that want to make a left to that eastern entrance, it requires everyone to cross the tunnel exit, and so you create a major conflict point right there with traffic moving east, vehicles trying to get out and turn left to get to the vacuums, which is one of the primary reasons why we want that left and right access out of both of those driveways.
Yeah, I would actually think it'd be better to funnel everybody to just one single left, because for instance, if I'm gonna make a right, I'm gonna go to the east entrance to get out of there quick, right?
Sure.
So why would I wanna queue up? You know, I mean, to me, that it's creating a lot of cross traffic. I mean, but that's just, again, my thoughts on it. And so that's just, again, one of our, I'm sure my other board members have some concerns with that. Another question I had is the stormwater management on the southwest corner, because that's residential in that corner. you know, I had made the note when I was reviewing the plans, you know, that wall needs to be extended farther to the north to provide better screening from the residents. And I see you have like a manhole structure there. Can someone explain to me why that wall doesn't continue to the north and what possibly that storm drain is doing other than collecting stormwater from adjacent properties, which typically isn't?
Well, that's precisely the problem, is that we have stormwater from adjacent properties that are coming onto our site, and we can't block that. We can't change the trajectory of their runoff. And so we have to stop the wall there so that we can allow that runoff to continue onto our site, and then we're capturing it in that storm grate and then sending it off to a regional basin.
So are you controlling it from the adjacent property just to the west or the residents on the southwest? Where's the water coming from?
It would be basically that southwest, that residential property. As part of the overall development to the south that we're actually draining to, there's plans from in the 90s of when that was supposed to be developed, and the development was actually supposed to provide their own swales internally and route that differently. It was not constructed that way, and we have to deal with, as Chris said, existing conditions and that flow that is coming out of that corner onto our described site, and being able to provide a positive relief for that, hence the relief in the wall, as he said, and the structure to be able to capture that and properly convey it, as not to pose a hardship on the neighboring property to the west. And
So is currently that water all going into the south half that's currently wooded on that property that you're gonna clear?
in
Is
our
that
cur-
how it's currently draining?
Yes,
just in
so,
that green
yep,
space?
currently it's depicted, if you were to look at existing conditions or survey, there's a swale there that is allowing it to come into our described site here on 23 Mile Road, and then it makes its way to an open-ended culvert that ultimately gets to the same location we're taking it to the south in that
Yeah, so-
regional facility.
So it just runs along that south end in the green space, right?
Yeah, it's currently going through an undeveloped area right
Yeah.
now, which
Yep.
is part of the development currently, just as though if any developer came in here, they would be permitted to make, improvements down into that area. That was just a state of the existing development not needing that space. And then I'll just also add that the halting of that wall or stopping of that wall prior to the actual property boundary meeting up with the commercial property to the north, if you were to go out and look down there, I mean, one, there's still the natural screening that is going to be on the residential property, but then that whole stretch looking west is all part of a buffer. There's a landscape buffer in there and swale drainage in there that extends all the way west. So even with that wall not there, there's not a vision avenue of what that wall would actually be blocking versus where those residential structures are set back to. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, you're saying there's existing vegetation that's blocking that area and that it would be the northwest corner of their property.
Yeah, the northeast of the residential
Or the
property.
northeast of their
Yep.
property.
But then also looking completely all the way straight west down that avenue of, if you look down where that wall opening is from the or Big Boy site, Mr. Car Wash site, if you look straight west of where that wall opening is vacated, you're looking down just basically a vegetative strip out all the way to the west.
I'm familiar with this site, and yeah, so the only thing with vegetation is that unfortunately it's not a permanent thing, right? So it can be removed or it can get, disease. So typically that's why we like to see the screening walls. But the screening wall can still be installed, and then you can just put, I call them, like vents or, where the water can flow underneath the wall. I mean, so there are things that can be done to extend the wall and then to be able to allow water to pass to get to that manhole as well. So, I'm just bringing up, to me, that's a concern of mine. because again, the reason why we do the walls is because you can't guarantee the vegetation's always gonna be there. So, so that's just another one of my concerns is that, the IFAS system on the building, it says that it's painted. Can you confirm if that's field painted or is that a pre-finish product?
It's pre-finished.
It's pre-finished, okay. Just want to make sure, because we don't do any field painting on any of our materials. And then my last concern, because again, I do agree with others. I mean, your plan is elevation-wise. I mean, the building is is nice. You guys did a nice job with that.
Thank you.
But the bypass lane, just that's probably going to be an issue for me as well. I'm pretty passionate about bypass lanes in general because I've been stuck in things that, places where I didn't want to be and I couldn't get out.
Yeah.
So I will say that the bypass lane, although I understand your business model, but understand that that's a business model, our ordinance is pretty strict on bypass lanes. Obviously, I don't know what my fellow members will, what their opinions are, but from my opinion, I mean, that's the reasoning behind why you don't want a bypass lane that's just a preference. Our ordinances, again, is pretty clear on bypass lanes are required. So I'm just saying that's something that, you might want to take a look at, because to me it's, someone should always have the opportunity to get out. I mean, that's why we do bypass lanes, right? I mean, nobody should be stuck, especially if something comes up, somebody gets an emergency call and, they're queued in the middle of your middle lane, row number 5, and there's cars on all sides of them. To try to have to flag somebody down that's, 80 feet in front of them, helping the customer that's in the outside lane because they're the pay lane, I think is a little awkward. And I don't think, in general, they shouldn't have to do that. So that is a concern of mine as well, is that. So outside of that, that's my thoughts.
May I respond to your comments about the bypass lane?
I think so.
Yeah. So, of course, it's a preference for us not to have that. But functionally, the site just doesn't work for us to have that. If we were to go down to 2 travel lanes, one thing that it does is it lengthens that queuing and creates potentially more impact for that to head out onto 23 Mile. It still doesn't satisfy the challenge that you just mentioned. If you're on that inside lane and you've got a car to the left of you, a bypass on the outside doesn't do you any good, right? For our customers, the way we run our stores, from the time you hit the site to the time you're through the wash tunnel, our goal is about 3 minutes. We're pretty good about that. So there's not often an experience where you're having to sit there for an extended period of time as you're moving through. And again, as I said, it's really just the site function. The setbacks, if they just don't allow it to create that safe turning radii to get into the tunnel, allow people to get lined up, and just do it safely. So.
Understood. No, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm good. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Mr. Jaworski?
Start the timer. No. I am joking. The one thing I'm floored about sitting here and listening to everybody is we didn't hear about traffic. That is one of the worst corners, and nobody brought it up. Okay. But I'm not here to judge on what business can come in and what business cannot come in. So I have to take that off the table. The biggest thing that I see is what are we going to do about the noise for the surrounding residents? I mean, obviously, you got a big boys there. They don't have vacuum cleaners running 12 hours a day, okay? So I agree with your sound study. But just to address some of the other ones, I mean, there is a need for another car wash. I've been in this community for over 20 years, and the gentleman that's selling the big boy has been here for 44 years. I see more vacancies in restaurants than I see in car washes. We've approved other car washes that were just a half mile away from other car washes, and they seem to be doing well. And I would not visit those other car washes because of their location. I don't think I would visit your car wash because of that location. So, I mean, but if you're willing to invest, how many? $7 million
$7 million.
into the community? I mean, we gotta weigh differences between the investment in the community and what could be 10, 15 years down the line. I do see a need for a high-quality car wash, though. I mean, all the ones that I've gone to in the city, I can think of one that's just outside of our city limits that outperform each one of them. So I think there's a need for a quick drive-through car wash, and there's a need for other car washes too, and I'd be willing to pay extra money for it. And I'm reading Cranes today. For some reason in the state of Michigan, there's a lot of chains that are coming here. So either it's gonna be there, or it's gonna be up the road. There's a lot of things we have to consider. So I wish the best for both. I thank you for your being in the community and trying to make that work. I haven't been to your car wash since you've taken over. I do have to state that. And then thank you for 44 years in the community at Big Boys? So we've got to weigh everything, and either way, it's not going to be an easy choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Klinowski?
Yeah, I agree on with Mr. Carr on the turning conflicts on those two drives. I'm concerned about that. I do have a question. How many vehicles can you put in your queuing lanes?
Just what we show stacked is 27, but that's just on kind of the pre-pay station side. Once you get through the pay station, we can probably stack another, have you done the count? I'd say 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then the tunnel can have another 5.
That's about 3 minutes per car.
Well, so the tunnel is on a conveyor, so it's a continuous system. So that 3 minutes is from when you drive into the site to the time you exit the tunnel.
Okay,
So.
3 minutes, okay. Yeah, I agree with Mr. Jaworski on the fact that, you know, we have to be very careful on saying no to some businesses and yes to others. That's kind of not our thing. We do have a little discretion in our special land uses, but I have to think about that one too. So that's it for me.
Thank you. Mr. Leonard?
Some of the issues that I was thinking about have already been brought out. Some things have been brought up that I hadn't thought about yet, so I took that in, and I don't have a lot more to add to that. I was on the road, so the late afternoon information that came in, I didn't really have a chance to look at it. So unfortunately, and I don't know how many others have, that's why we always look to get it way in advance and not have a bunch of things trickling in over the next week or so.
Understood.
So that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, may I make a quick comment about the driveways?
Sure.
Would it be acceptable to the commission if we were to convert the westernmost driveway to exit only, the easternmost driveway to entry only? Would that solve the concern?
Whenever we had a new business or a business come in and rebuild, Taco Bell, McDonald's, we made them eliminate 2 entrances. So in my opinion, you guys should only have 1, too. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, I can tell you, I can confidently tell you that I can convert the eastern exit or the eastern driveway to entry only and the western driveway exit only. Going down to 1 driveway, that's beyond my authority to.
Mr. Palin, did they change that from going from just to 1 entrance and exit?
As far as MDOT goes, I'm not aware. I think each site's unique and decided on its own merits, so I don't have an answer to that. I would defer to them.
Because that is a very busy area right there, and they don't really need 2, so.
Yeah, I don't know if their determination was based on it being an exit only, or if there was some other criteria that they go by.
Yeah, when we presented it to MDOT, it was both entrance and exit at both driveways, and they approved that configuration.
Thank you. Anybody else? If not, normal procedure is to wait to our next meeting, which will be, what is it, April 2nd?
April 2nd, that is correct.
April 2nd, to vote on this, April 2nd. So.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Tell you not to take a poll.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn it for
Okay,
up
go
to
ahead.
4 more meetings.
Sure.
Yeah, we need to get all their information updated,
Yep.
especially the sound study. Gentlemen, if you could get it to us a few days in advance, I'm gonna wanna really study it and understand it, and it takes me a little while. So I don't wanna do it on Sunday, and these are Tuesday meetings, so
Yeah, no.
maybe the Friday before.
Yeah, we'll certainly do our best. I'll have to talk with our acoustical consultant to see how quickly they can get back on site and get that set
Perfect.
up. 'Cause we're about 2 weeks out, I think, from that next meeting, so, but we'll get it turned around as quickly as we can.
Rich, when did you want to,
I wanted
up to 4 meetings?
up to 4 meetings.
Okay.
Take your time, make sure it's done. You have to redo the study. I think you do, but it's up to you. Right now, you looked at New Baltimore ordinances, and I don't think you have enough microphones. That's my opinion.
So we have a motion on the table by Mr. Brokart to table for up to 4 meetings. Support. We have a motion by Mr. Brokart, supported by Mr. Klinowski. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Tanner?
The review for Stahl's Automotive Museum at 56516 North Bay Drive. This is petition number 2024-04, M1 and M2, total 5.57 acres, North Bay Industrial Park number 2, parcel ID 1509042030009, 1509042030004, 1509042030005, 1509042030006, and the last one is 1509042260015. If Mr. Palin would like to jump in at this time?
Thank you. As you stated, when you called the item, this is for a parking lot expansion and installation of a temporary overflow gravel parking lot. This is proposed on Lot 27 of the North Bay Industrial Park, vacant lot. The Automotive Museum has acquired that property as well as the existing building further to the south. They do meet the ordinance requirements when it comes to the parking lot standards, you know, space widths, dimensions, landscaping, frontage landscaping, with the exception of bicycle parking was not provided, so they would be required for bicycle spaces. The applicant has indicated that that should be doable. They would update the plans. They're also missing a full photometric plan, and the cut sheets for the proposed lighting that they've indicated they can provide. I don't have any issues with those being reviewed administratively to ensure they meet the ordinance. The one thing for the Planning Commission to consider tonight would be whether the temporary gravel parking lot would be acceptable. I know they have future plans for that property where the gravel lot is proposed, and they basically don't want to put in a permanent lot just to tear it out in a couple of years for new construction, so they're asking for that on a temporary basis till they come back to the commission in the future to do something more permanent.
Is the applicant here? You want to talk?
How's that? Better? Okay. I'm Marvin Steiner, Steiner Associates Architects. I'm representing the Stahl's Automotive Foundation tonight. And on the, I guess, the single controversial issue on the parking lot, which is the temporary gravel parking lot, I'd like to address that because some new information has come up. Originally, we wanted that parking lot for an event called Cars and Coffee, which meets in the summertime only 1 day a week when the weather's good for about 3 hours. That was the total use for that parking lot. Since I've been told and talking with the contractors who will be building the concrete parking lot that they also need that area for staging, and staging the catch basins and the pipes and the gravel that they're going to use in the new parking lot. And we have a third use for that, which is when we build, we're building an extension to the existing museum, which will be about the same footprint as the existing museum. And we'd also like to use that gravel area at that time for staging materials for that project. And as soon as that project is underway or nearly complete, we would be paving that parking lot as part of that project. So the gravel is purely temporary.
Thank you. Any questions? Mr. DeBink?
No, I'm good.
Mr.
You know,
Brokart?
Stalls has got a great working relationship. They do a lot of great things, so I'm happy to help them get through their, whatever they gotta do till they get their addition done and stuff like that. They've been
you.
great to the township, and they do a lot of great things for a lot of people. Thank you.
Mr. Brokart?
I'm all set, thank you.
Mr. Carr?
No, I don't have any issue with what they're proposing nor the gravel lot, other than I think we should put some stipulation on the time frame that we allow it to be gravel, and whether that's 24 months or 36 months, just to ensure that if plans do get delayed or failed, you know, that there's recourse that they have to take the gravel back out and put it back to natural vegetation. So I think other than that stipulation, I have no issue with the rest of the plan.
Thank you. Mr. Jaworski?
No, I agree with that time stipulation. Thanks, Brian. No, thank you, Stalls. I think you're one of the jewels of Chesterfield Township. I love your museum. I was just talking you up here. And I'm guessing it would probably be one of the best gravel lots in the whole city, because people with cars, they make sure that they're not throwing up stones. So I agree. I mean, to build that out, sounds like you have some good plans, and I feel we can make some accommodations to help them.
Thanks. Mr. Kwiatkowski?
Yeah, what is your timeline on the, on your construction, and how long would you need the temporary lot?
Well, the current timeline, and these things keep extending, but currently we're planning to start construction on the new building next year. And so that would probably extend for 6 months or a year from that point. And when now that obviously can be delayed for one thing or another. The Automotive Foundation is more or less a charity, so it depends on having income from other sources to be able to move forward with that. But our Mr. Saul is very anxious to get the new building going. He'd like to do it faster than the 1 year. But.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Leonard?
Yes. The last time Stalls was looking for a temporary gravel parking lot, it was, and we see how that turned out. It turned out great. But at the time, you were going to have Jay Leno come in for a charity fundraiser.
Yes.
And you expected a lot of traffic, and so it made perfect sense to work with you, and you guys have done a great job. I don't have an issue with any of this. I think the 36-month timeframe might be fair to give you enough time to build the building and do what you need to do. The parking lot's going to be done this year?
The concrete lot?
Yes.
Yes, that's going to proceed as soon as we get approvals.
Okay, so then the new building next year, so then, let's say you got another 24 months after that, I feel that's a lot of time. And if there is a delay or a problem comes up that's out of your control, we can always, you can come back and possibly we could consider an extension to keep it there. But there's never been any issues. I've been to your museum for fundraisers and personally for different things, and looking forward to seeing some more nice things over there.
We all are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the Stalls Automotive temporary parking lot, site plan number 2024-04 for 36 months, and it would include the bicycle parking and full photometric.
Support. We have a motion by Mr. Klinowski, supported by Mr. Leonard. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Number 7 is comments from the floor as permitted by the commission on non-agenda items. Number 8, non-agenda related communications. Number 9 is to receive and file comments regarding agenda items. Number 10 is committee reports, ordinance amendments, board liaison reports, reviews and discussions from members of the commission, consultants, and township employees. And number 10A is planning commission bylaws. Mr. Palin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The bylaws have actually been in front of the commission before for an update. This is basically to reformat them and make things a little bit more consistent with the way the township board does the meeting. If you recall, in the past, we discovered that our agenda order wasn't properly matched with our bylaws, so we changed the agenda order, which created some confusion. So we had a discussion about it previously. The commission agreed that they would like to go something similar to what was done in the past. So the main change here is towards the end, where it's the order of the agenda. Gives the public an opportunity for public comments before the agenda items. Kind of shortens up the language a little bit and it simplifies the items on the agenda. Other than that, everything else is either just to clean up minor tweaks or reformatting.
Thank you. We need a motion for that. I'll make a motion to approve the planning commission bylaws as.
I'll second.
I'll make a motion to approve the planning commission bylaws as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Miller, supported by Mr. Brokart. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Planners report. Ms. Osborne, did you have anything else?
Yeah, mine's dead. All right. I have so many microphones. Thank you. So the only thing I'd like to remind the commissioners is we would like to talk about building materials at some point. So as you're out and about, if you see something you like, see something you don't like, file that away, let us know, because I think we'll be bringing that back shortly. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner comments, Mr. Demink?
I'm good. Thanks, guys,
Mr.
for all
Bro-
your input tonight. I appreciate everything you guys do. Thank you.
Mr. Brokart?
I'm all set, thanks.
Mr. Carr?
I'm good.
Mr. Jaworski?
I think I got my 3 minutes. I'm good. Thank you.
Mr. Klinowski? Oh, man. Mr. Leonard?
I'm good, thank you.
And I'm good. So item number 11 is to make a adjournment. I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:18.
Support.
8:18. We have a motion by Mr. Miller, supported by Mr. Demink. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.